George,
We're back.
we're back. You know, it's been a little bit of time. I meant to get back to you and get up here and see you. I have to say, at least 2 weeks now.
That is true, and normally we do more of these videos, but we have a very good topic for today, which Bob is going to introduce here.
Yeah, well, we'll introduce it now. And part of the reason I didn't get up to see you a couple of weeks ago is I was doing a little bit of work in the basement, and adversity hit. Life got in the way.
Life happens.
I ended up hurting myself prying up I had that leak in the basement, and the carpet got saturated. I had to pull it out. It got destroyed. And I was just prying up the boards, the carpet tack that hold the carpet in place.
Right?
And just being in that bent over position and being kind of twisted a little bit, something just went pop here. It ended up turning into a massive strain that, when you can't laugh, it hurts.
That would be bad.
You have an issue. So what is that? The intercostals? Is that the proper terminology for that?
Right, and the ribs are a protective area of the body for your organs, and there's a lot of really muscles that are involved there, very intricate and smooth muscles, and
Yeah.
they're designed for multiple functions: protection, breathing, mobility. And when that happens, even though it's very hard to injure that area, when you do injure that area, it takes a little while to come back from that. It's not as simple as just throwing your back out, or your neck, or your shoulder, or getting torticollis or stiff neck.
Just maintaining the core was a huge challenge for me. I mean, laughing, sneezing, forget about it. It's like cracked ribs almost.
It is.
So needless to say, the goal is, how do you become anti-fragile when you're dealing with adversity? Is life happening to you, or is life happening for you? And it depends upon up here how you're looking at that. And for that, I want to turn it over to George, because he pulled, I think, one of the perfect books out to help deal with that concept.
Well, there's 2 steps that you need to take to deal with these types of adversity. So the first obvious step would be the physical, and then the second less obvious step would be the mindset.
Yeah.
And a long time ago, when I was a much younger practitioner, I had worked for a couple of chiropractors that had been around for a long time, that had very good reputations as being top practitioners in the area which I practice. And they both taught me a valuable lesson. They turned me on to an author named Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to read Napoleon's first book that they gave me, Think and Grow Rich, a number of times.
That's a classic. That's great.
Very classic book, and it's a book that's timeless, because no matter what era you're in, it applies. And the 2 doctors gave me a couple of different books. I actually have all the books that are written or authored by Napoleon Hill. And the one that I really particularly like is this one here. It's called You Can Work Your Own Miracles by Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
And what this book really is about mindset and how to develop that mindset. And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't need or know or even have a clue of what to do. And what happens a lot of times, and especially in today's world and today's environment, it's so easy to go on the internet and look up whatever it might be.
Right.
So what a lot of people don't realize when you go on the internet and you're looking up different things, more often than not, that is just merely that author's opinion, and it's slanted to whatever his opinion is. And And so you look it up and you think, oh, it's on the internet. It's got to be verbatim. It's got to be true. But it doesn't necessarily need to be.
And what usually comes to the top of an internet search anyway, when again, dealing with positive mindset or negative mindset, when people get pissed off, they're more apt to go onto Google and log a complaint than they are when they're actually feeling good to render a
Right.
compliment.
Right. That is so correct. So what happens a lot of time, like Bob had a particular condition, with his ribs and back and breathing and coughing and sneezing and, which are factors that influence, that type of injury. And there's not really a whole lot you can do for it. I mean, you could kind of kinesiotape it. You could kind of buy like a sleeve to put on it.
It's just hard to stay immobile.
But you're better off, movement is good to move. You're better off to create pliability a la Tom Brady and to get treated.
Right.
And that is always the best option because, if you put a sleeve on, you tape it, what you're really doing with that is causing deconditioning to take place, and you're affecting your conditioning. And now you have to bounce back from that.
You're slowing down the healing process.
And you're slowing down the healing process. So what people do sometimes, they over-research, a particular condition, and they say, well, I read here that it says this, and then they read here and it says this, and they read here and it says that. And then they're doing what this author said, they're doing what that author said, and they're doing what this author said. Well, the problem with that is you have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
So you're doing yourself more harm than good, and you're actually thinking yourself ill.
So back to that. How do you become the dominant force in your life? What's the key takeaway?
Okay, so I think from everything I learned and from doing this is you have to address, as I stated earlier, both aspects, the physical and the mental.
Yeah.
So the physical aspect, what you can do is you can do exercise, you can go to a PT, you can go to a chiro, and you can get treatment to balance everything out. And you're going to have to find a happy blend of all that, and then you're going to have to create pliability. And what Tom Brady says, the key to longevity in whatever you do, and the key to, repeating an action over and over again is developing pliability. That's what pliability is, your ability to do an action over and over again without injury. So the key, according to Tom Brady's, consultants and their research, is to have proper hydration, with proper electrolyte balance, and develop that. And you're doing exercise, you're getting adjusted, you're going to the PT, or whatever course you decided you're going to take. You're doing it all natural, and you're going to have a good outcome. But the other half of that's only 50% of the story, is you got to develop the mindset. And what you don't want to do is develop a negative mindset. Mm-hmm. You don't want to yuck up your mind with too many concepts of, I read this from this author, I read this from this author, I read this. Back when I went to Palmer, one of the concepts was KISS, and what that stands for is keep it simple, stupid. And a lot of people don't do that. They complicate the situation, they look up all this information, they believe it all to be true, and why not? It's on the internet. I looked it up, I Googled it, I looked it up. It's got to be true. But once again, what that really is just an author's opinion. And if you want to look up stuff on the internet that is actually, information that is research, it has to be research that you read from a peer-reviewed journal. If you're not reading that from a peer-reviewed journal, it's just that particular author's opinion, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you got to be smart enough to delineate the difference.
Yeah. But again, getting back to becoming a dominant force in your life, mindset, skill set, and action. And is life happening to you, or is life happening for you? And you want to get into that mind where life is happening for you.
So let's take some concepts. Let me condense this book in Think and Grow Rich for you. And there's three key concepts, and this is what you need to make your own miracles happen, to set your mindset in place. And what it is so simple, and it going back to the Palmer College of Chiropractic, the Palmer University principle of KISS from B.J. Palmer, Keep It Simple, Stupid. And based on everything I read from Napoleon Hill and condensing all 17 of the books that I read, it's see it, believe it, and you'll achieve it. So you got to see yourself getting better. You got to believe what you're doing is getting better, whether it's a combination of exercise, nutrition, diet, hydration, developing pliability, and developing that positive mindset and taking all the steps to develop wellness and from a holistic approach. And it's about mindset. It's about following through. And my son, the other day, we had a father-son talk, and he paid me a backdoor compliment.
Oh, good.
And it was a very positive talk, and I did not expect this, but he said, Dad, I'll tell you why I'm such a good salesman, and I learned that from you. It's because you're consistent, you're persistent, you're unrelenting, and you never give up. And you're always positive. You never have anything negative to say about anybody.
Yeah.
You have nothing ever negative that you think about or do. Everything you do is you believe in, and you believe it's going to work.
And that's sharing and caring. That's not selling and telling, by the way.
And he gave me that mindset, and he told me I've taken that from you, and that's why I'm such a good salesman. And he is a top salesman. That's what he does. But once again, it's about mindset. And if you have that mindset, you can take a page out of my book. My son certainly did. And if you could do what he said that he did, that he took from me, I think goes a long way in developing that mindset that I learned from Napoleon Hill, that these two wise chiropractors had given me a long time ago. And they didn't just come out and tell me like I'm telling you. They made me find it for myself. They made me read those books, and I enjoyed reading these books, and I read them over and over again. Whenever I get in a little bit of a slump or a little bit of a mental funk, I'll go back and reread these books, the different ones, and like the 17 Principles of Success, Think and Grow Rich, Work Your Own Miracles. You can work your own miracles, and you can make them happen. And what it really comes down to, if you condense all of that and all the stories and all the examples and all the 17 books, is you got to see it. You have to envision it. You have to have that vision. You got to believe it. You got to believe in yourself, and you will achieve it. It's there for you, and even if you go from a religious perspective and you look at the Old Testament, And I'm not the most religious guy. I'm kind of a scientific guy, but God created man in the image and likeness of God. So God creates so man can create. So you are who you are, and you are what you are because you wanted to be. And if you wanted to be something else, you would be.
Right.
It's all mindset. So if you want to really institute change, it's up to you. And you got to be ready for that change, and you got to, start with the mindset, and then you got to follow through with the physical side of it, and it'll all work out, and you'll have that positive outcome that you're looking for.
Exactly. Just one day at a time. Get yourself 1% better every day. And with that, I have to say, 2 weeks after I hurt myself, I'm back out to cutting the grass. I'm not back out to working out yet. I'm not going to put any real force on that. But I'm out walking. I'm doing what I need to do. The housework is getting done. And I really couldn't do that without my chiropractic buds. I'm going to give a shout out to Mike Lou Moreno, the laser guru guy. All of you guys. It was a team effort, and I thank you for that. Anyway, George, anything in closing?
No, that's it. I want to just say, I hope you enjoyed this video. We will be back, and we will do more.
We sure will.
Everybody, have a great day.
And remember, is life happening to you or for you? make it happen for you. Take care.